hear background noise and people talking in the background, that is because I'm recording at a cultural site called the Holstentore, and I'm going to show you the ability, prophetic and military foresight, and I'm going to show you the future of the city of Lübeck. I have declassification right and I have Grand Master right over the mind of the destiny of Lübeck, the higher self of the city. And I'm going to introduce you to a philosophical concept before I'm going to show you the future, because you have to understand why calamities and bad things happen. Because inside of the Lübeckian church, the Church of Lübeck, the evangelical church, has not really prepared the citizens and authorities of Lübeck for what is coming upon Lübeck, which I will take upon me now and prepare you for what is coming. You know, you have free will. God gave you free will as a Lübeckian citizen and authority. And you can make these choices. And some of you have positions in society, good positions, and some of you don't. Some of you have generational blessings and some of you do not. For some, life is a little bit easier than others, but everyone is part of the game. Everyone is part of the destiny. It's one destiny, one city, and everyone does his or her part. So, you have these choices in your relationship life. You have the choices in your professional life. You have choices in all kinds of aspects of your life. Whereby when you enter a relationship, you can enter a relationship in many ways. You can date on your own level and seek an equal, but you can also date downwards to seek something which is easily manageable. So if you're a beautiful woman and you go with a less favorable man, the amount of power you have in the relationship is going to be exceptional, because you as beautiful woman can just get another average man, but that average man cannot get another beautiful woman. Whereby when there are imbalances in social power, in a relationship, people can abuse this power. So I'm not talking about what you could or what you should do. I'm talking about all the instances that have been there where you have abused your power, where you have abused people that trust, when you have done that which is universally seen as wrong. You made the wrong choice. So when you hear about the future of the city of Lübeck and think, why is God doing this to us? I want you to think about when nobody was looking and you were put in a professional position and you took advantage of the fact that nobody was looking and you did a misdeed. You know what I mean? So people have curses, people have familiar spirits, people have dead bodies, and there is a rival curse. So the history of Lübeck, 100 years old, generational lines, your grandmother, your mother, you know, your dad, your granddad, this generational line, you got blessings and curses coming down, and then you inherited that. And then your deeds changed the account. This is what's called the karmic account. I'm just using the simplification. You reap what you sow, and God keeps an account of this. Generational blessings and curses. So when you are more tuned into the negative aspect of this than the positive aspect, when you're critically accursed, all of a sudden you will attract more problems than solutions you can provide. And we're going to go in a part of Lübeckian destiny where there are going to come more problems than solutions can be provided. The destiny of Lübeck at this moment of time has more curses than it has blessings. Whereby when that critical moment comes in the Lübeckian destiny, where everyone who has the right to be in the Lübeckian destiny has more cursings than blessings in the family bloodline, these events will start happening. So let's begin. No, you're not innocent. Abuse of trust, abuse of power creates dead bodies. Even when you take an abortion, an abortion is ending of something. If there was a timeline where a child could have been born and that child could have done something good for society, but you chose to end that timeline. So when you choose to inflict death penalty upon someone without that person being guilty of sin or crime, that's called murder. So I understand that in the culture you have cultural beliefs, but I am talking about divinity. I'm talking about universal law. When you do not abort, that child is born and has a timeline. And when that child grows up and starts committing sins, then all of a sudden, when misfortunate events unto the death penalty fall upon that child, it is within the hands of that child. So whoever commits an abortion is taking away that from another human being, which is in the eyes of God murder. So I understand that you in Germany and everywhere in the world have your own personal cultural perspective of right and wrong. But what is coming upon Lübeck has nothing to do with your cultural perspective. It is called heavenly judgment. The moment the curses outbalance the blessings, you go into a nightmare. You go into an unpleasurable life. You go into suffering. You leave order and you enter chaos. So I am going to show you the chaos that is coming upon Lübeck the second everyone has used their spiritual inheritance and threw it away and just do as you please, and then you ran out of blessings, and then comes the judgment of God. This is what it looks like. So at this moment of time in the society of Lübeck, fear is debilitating citizens and authorities of Lübeck. So this is a matter of character. When somebody starts a fight, you walk away because you don't want to get in trouble. When you see somebody commit a crime, you don't do anything against it because you don't want to get in trouble. When you see someone else do something dangerous, you don't want to interfere because you might get in trouble. So people in Lübeck are, in general, conflict avoiding at all times, fear driven. And this fear is critical. The amount of fear in the souls of the Lübeckians is so great that it will condemn and curse your destiny. It is a great threat against your personality. Because every time you do you, you're going to be confronted with something, and then you will no longer do you, because you're afraid for what might happen if you do you. So your person and your essence will be, you will deny yourself to stay out of conflict. You will deny yourself. You won't do you because you don't want to end up in a fight. You don't want to end up in an argumentation. You don't want to end up in some issue. You are so addicted to avoiding a conflict that you will even deny yourself to be you. You will erase your personality even before combating your fear. In the Lübeckian destiny, in the collective consciousness, the people rather give up all their rights to their own personality than to face their fears in the eyes. So, the people of Lübeck, I'm not saying you are all cowards in the sense as an insult, but I am saying as in cowardness is causing you to lose your identity. The Lübeckian identity is lost because people are too coward to defend that identity. So when bad things happen to Lübeck, there are no protests. There are no riots. There are no problems. Because the people fear. The people don't do anything about anything because they are prisoned by fear. So I saw the future when this was going to stop. So nothing happens in a negative sense, nothing like traumatic or dramatic, because everyone is simply afraid to do something. So nobody does anything, and all of a sudden you have peace. Right? But this is an illusion. This is false peace. Because something is going to trigger the Lübeckians to no longer listen to the fear. And the thing that's going to kill fear is called economic collapse. The moment the economy in Germany collapses, people no longer have the luxury to live in fear. So when the money stops flowing, when the economy stops working, all of a sudden, all the fear-driven people so obsessed with fear have no more luxury to live in fear, and they will start rioting. So I saw the riots in Lübeck, and they will storm the Rathaus, the town hall, and they will seek the mayor of Lübeck to punish him for the calamity that fell upon Lübeck. So the economic collapse of this country caused the fear-driven people to be like, we need to take action. And the actions they took is starting rioting, and they stormed the town hall, and they went after the mayor because they blamed the mayor for the calamities that fell upon Lübeck. So during these riots, even a bomb went off downtown. These riots were extreme. So you have to understand, nobody's doing anything, and everyone is just being frustrated, and people are keeping their frustrations inside. And they're getting more frustrated because they're afraid they don't release their frustrations. So the moment the economy collapsed, everyone's frustrations came out, and there was serious utterances of this frustration until a bomb going off downtown. So the Lübeckians started to jump in front of trains, committing suicide. This traumatized the personnel. All of a sudden, a suicide culture appeared. And not just this, people were accused of being a Nazi. So all of a sudden, in Lübeck were people walking around, and they were saying, "You are a Nazi." They were accusing people of being a Nazi. And these people that were accused were put to death. So some of them were put to death because they were a real Nazi, but some of them were just being accused of being a Nazi, and they were not a Nazi. It didn't matter. In the Lübeck I'm talking about, people were being put to death even if they just accused you of being a Nazi. If the research they did, if you truly were or not, was not proper. It was like what people would call a hetze. So eventually the military personnel, the army, were stationary at the shops in Lübeck. It was no longer capable of maintaining Lübeckian society without having the army stationary at the shops. So at this moment of time, when the military personnel was in Lübeck, the end of the world cults became bigger than the church of Lübeck. So you have the evangelical church of Lübeck, and they have clergies, and these people are subscribed to the church, and they have a member base. Well, the member base of the end of the world cults were bigger. And even police officers started to commit suicide. And the moment the police officers started to commit suicide, everyone in the evangelical church of Lübeck started to question God. Why is this happening, and how can it be? So this is the point where in Lübeck Evangelical Church, religion died and Christianity was born. People, these cultural events created inside of the church this awareness, okay, we've done it wrong. So they started asking God, what do we need to do to fix it? And that's when the Enlightenment started in Lübeck. However, when the Enlightenment started in Lübeck, a bomb hit a church. I don't know which one, but it was downtown. So it was one of the seven the Siebenturme, one of those churches got hit by a bomb. And the reason why people bombed that church was because people hated the church. But these rioting people hated the church. Christians died during this bombing, and it became world news.